to say, let's get this thing going. And I would like to first start off and introduce the president of the Anteaters in the Arts alumni chapter. He is also a UCI trustee. That's the highest board that you can, advisory board you can be involved with here at the university. And he's also a filmmaker. His name is Ivan Williams, and he's going to help introduce the rest of the time. So thank you, Ivan.
Thank you, Wendy, and welcome to another fantastic Wellness Wednesday that my organization, the Anteaters in the Arts, has decided to go in collaboration with this event to hopefully bring you some brightness and lightness to your day, because I think tonight's conversation and lecture by one of our esteemed professors at the Claire Trevor School of the Arts is really going to enlighten you of how you can maybe operate your day in a little bit brighter mode. It gives me a great pleasure to have the Anteaters in the Arts utilize this technology in our days of what we call staying at home, staying safely. And really this format allows us to reach Anteaters across the globe. So we're not restricted to just the physical locations in Orange County or Los Angeles, but we can reach and touch Anteaters across the globe. So again, I thank the UC Irvine Alumni Association for allowing us to partner on tonight's event. And again, this is just another series of events we put on recently. We plan more in the future. So without further ado, and I encourage anyone who's interested to reach out to our Anteaters alumni members, and we have a website, a Facebook site that you can connect to us. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce my Anteaters in the Arts board member who's in charge of the events and who's going to be our esteemed facilitator tonight, Mr. Clint Foley. So Clint, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday, where the improv games are made up and whatever pants you are wearing don't matter because this is a Zoom video. I am Clint Foley. I am the events programmer for the Anteaters in the Arts, and I really appreciate that introduction by our chapter president and our liaison to the Alumni Association. Let me just make one more introduction on behalf of our leader for our event today, Mr. Joel Vinstra. Let me just pull up what I have prepared for our esteemed comedian today. Joel Vinstra is a multi-hyphenate. He's a stage manager. He's a production manager, a producer, and an improviser. He serves as the Claire Trevor School of the Arts Drama Department's Associate Chair of Production. And if you can figure out a shorter acronym for that, please, we need it. He has acted as a production manager for Counterbalance Theater and for special CTSA, Claire Trevor School of the Arts events. But outside of his campus involvement, he has collaborated with industry titans such as the Pasadena Playhouse, Cirque du Soleil, the Walt Disney Concert Hall, California Science Center, various legacy award presentations, you know, honoring people like Tom Hanks, Rita Moreno, Laverne Cox. And closest to home, he conceived and has produced UCI's Coup de Comedy Festival since 2013. In addition, oh, yes, I see the jazz hands, Coup de Comedy, woohoo! Thank you. In addition, Professor Feenstra teaches improvisation for performance, and he mentors UCI's two improv teams, Live Nude People, asterisk, with clothes on, and asterisk, and Improv Revolution. But most importantly, in 2013, Professor Vinstra taught his first official performance for improv class, or improv performance class, in which I was a perfectly average and unassuming student. I am the reason why they curved the grades. Everyone, please welcome Professor Joel Vinstra.
Oh, thanks, Clint. That was a great introduction. Thank you, everyone. It's so great to see you all. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Ivan and Wendy and everyone for having me. Thanks you for being with us for this next hour. I hope it is perfectly okay, like the rest of these Zoom meetings we're all doing together, or maybe a little bit above that. We'll see. But when the folks asked me here to share this session with you, I was absolutely thrilled to do that because I personally am a big fan of wellness. I went through a period of my life when I wasn't so great at wellness, and that wasn't so great. For example, here's a picture of me when I was almost 300 pounds. I was really proud to have my picture with the brilliant award-winning filmmaker James Cameron. I wasn't so proud of my physical state, but I was even less proud that there's a guy behind us photobombing us, giving us that look of death. That was a little awkward. Not so much thrilled about that, but I want to be clear. I'm not fat shaming or body shaming. There's all different body types. There's a lot of diversity, and that's beautiful and important with the world. For me, it's about wellness, and I want to be and holistically. And I was not holistically well at that time. So through a lot of personal work and my own wellness, I'm about 100 pounds later. I feel a lot better about getting up every day and going to work. And it's amazing that in this day and age, there's no SIG alerts that I have to worry about. My commute up the stairs is pretty much a breeze. I can get to my office. Wait, I'm here now. It's amazing. I love it. And although carpooling isn't quite the same, so there's a little bit of a lag in terms of getting where I want to go. The carpool lanes just aren't doing it for me. Still, it's an exciting time for theater, so I'm thrilled about that. As Clint mentioned, I teach improvisation and comedy, and I love teaching and being involved in the drama department, especially when we're sorting out what to do in this very unique time in history. But we have a lot of very innovative ideas, and we'll have a virtual town hall meeting on Friday. So if you want to join us, feel free to email me. I'll get you a link to that to hear about what we're doing as we continue the process of hashtag UCI Arts Anywhere. I want to make sure that that happens and that we're taking our cues from colleagues all across the country right now, including Broadway, which while they're dark until Labor Day, they're rolling out some really fantastic, innovative offerings, such as this one, which we all are loving right now. And this certainly is a good thing to think about. And obviously, this is a very popular show that we all are feeling excited about in terms of what it is, especially the number. It can't be found, that hand sanitizer. That's really difficult. But we're not here to talk about current affairs within theater. We're here to talk about comedy. And so, and how comedy makes your life a little bit better. So first, we're gonna ask some questions of ourselves. So like Simon Sinek with his very famous TEDx talk, Start With Why, we're gonna start with why. Why comedy? A lot of people don't really respect comedy. When you think about the Academy Awards, it's amazing that almost none of the films that have won the best picture have ever been comedies. I mean, there's been quasi pictures that kind of seem like they're comedies. They call them comedies, but they're not comedies. They're dramas with a few little lighthearted moments, but they are not comedies. Comedies don't win that best picture award. And just shows a level of disrespect. And, you know, while this is the image of theater, right? We have the comedy mask and the tragedy mask. Most of the time when I look at seasons across the country, including our own here at UCI, it's a lot of this and not so much of this. In fact, it's almost like we're this, you know, just a little bit of tragedy all the time, when actually, holistically, we should be thinking about the balance of this. Because when we think about life, there's a positive and negative flow that happens at all times. And, you know, we've got theaters all across the country that are producing a lot of really downer pieces, and it makes me depressed just to think about going to the theater. And we wonder why audiences aren't going there as much. And maybe we need to think about a different choice in terms of what we're producing. But you know, that's because I'd rather spend an evening laughing than crying. But the trick again is balance and the diversity of balancing both these things. And for some reason, society and people often look at the negative versus just changing our focus a little bit in terms of the positive that's going on. And several individuals perceive comedy as a nice activity or something that's nice to do. But as for myself, and I have a good friend named Drew Tarvin, he's a humor engineer. He's written a number of really great books and did a TED Talk called The Skill of Humor, which has over 7 million views. And we look at the importance of comedy a little bit different. So let's take a look at that, a clip from that talk just a moment.
The reality is that humor is a must-have. In today's overworked, underappreciated, stress-filled, sleep-deprived culture, humor is a necessity because humor gets people to listen. It increases long-term memory retention, it improves understanding, aids in learning, and helps communicate messages. It also improves group cohesiveness, reduces status differentials, diffuses conflict, builds trust, and brings people closer together. It does these things and this stuff, and on and on and on. And it's all backed by research, case studies, and real-world examples. And these are some impressive benefits, right? Humor can help you to look better, live longer, and make it rain, right? Because people who use humor are paid more.
I love that. I love that because as a Research One institution here at UCI, we're priding ourselves on research. And there is a plethora of research in terms of why comedy is important and the benefits of it. It ties to what the core of what comedy is. And as such, we must kind of move to the next step of beyond why comedy, but what is comedy? There's a lot of different definitions out there in terms of what comedy is, and because comedy in and of itself is subjective in nature, right? So there's a lot of different perspectives on what it is, but considering the different definitions that are out there, I think one of the best is this. Comedy is the art of telling the truth about what it's like to be human. This is from renowned comedy expert Steve Kaplan's book, The Hidden Tools of Comedy. Again, comedy is the art of telling the truth about what it is like to be human. And he's done okay with his teaching. His students have won 43 Emmy Awards, 3 Academy Awards, 3 Golden Globe Awards, an American Comedy Award, 6 Writing Guild of America Awards, and several other honors. So they're doing okay in terms of his conceptualization of comedy. But this doesn't mean that, because it's telling the truth that you have to be factual and literal to what the truth is. For instance, there's an old joke that says, "Oh, I just flew in from New York and my arms are tired." Now, my arms aren't literally flying me in, right? I'm not a bird, I'm not doing that. So I'm not telling the truth in terms of what that is, but I'm going to a deeper level of telling the truth about the challenges of transcontinental travel, right? It's a burden, it's challenging, it's kind of difficult. And so in reframing the truth to point out an observational truth about what it's like to be human, we have this element of comedy. Because telling the truth about comedy is telling the truth about who we are as people, what our experience is, what our point of view is. And in doing so, we share with our audience, whether it's in a crowded theater or on Zoom, or to our dog that looks back at us like, huh? We're sharing something with someone else or another being. And in comedy, we share our experience about what it's like to be human. And in doing this, we build a bridge of connection with another person, which is truly the most profound and transcendent thing we can do as a species. For me, this is the core of comedy, the connection between people. Comedy is about having the experience together, whether individually or sharing with an audience, or having an audience member sharing with the audience as you both laugh about something that's happening or observing or hearing. It's creating laughter, but it also can share, affirm, and challenge perspectives and potentially share understanding. And it's something that we especially need now when we're so physically and sometimes philosophically disconnected from one another. So how do we do this? How do we do comedy well? Some people think that there's this element of, well, people are just born naturally funny. And there is some people that are naturally funny. But if you give me the person that's born naturally funny and the person that works really hard at it, and the person that is naturally funny doesn't do any work, and the person that works hard works their entire life at it, they will be a better comedian. They will have better humor because they're working at a skill, the skill of comedy. And so through different tools, we can build that skill. Here's some tips in terms of how to do this. And anyone can do this. You don't have to be a genius, because the genius of comedy comes through connection, and connection with the space around you, connection with the people around you, connection with the world. So I'm going to give you a few thoughts in terms of how to do this. Thought number 1, step 1, if you will, be a good audience. Be a good audience, not only as if you're watching comedy, but also of life. Observe the world, be open to the world. Sometimes it's amazing. Before this whole thing, before the galaxy kind of put us in a collective universal timeout, we had so much going on that we hardly could even observe the world. Right now I'm in Southern California and it is gorgeous. It is amazing. And I don't often appreciate how beautiful and incredible the world is until I actually pause and observe and become an audience member to the spectacle around me. Comedians are good observers. They're constantly looking for things that are quirky or funny or kind of make them laugh. And you're constantly looking at what they can take in then to share with somebody else. Be open to the experience. Don't just look at your phone the whole time. I swear, the world is more satisfying than swiping through your phone, even though I do it constantly. Uh, if you, and tell you what, it is very difficult to laugh at anything when you don't want to laugh. So you need an openness to that as well. An audience in the theater that comes in and is very grumpy, or I myself go to the theater and I'm very grumpy, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to enjoy that show. But if I come in open and in a good spirit, well taken care of, I've slept the night before, I've eaten enough good, healthy food, I'm going to come in and enjoy the food, the show much more so than if I come in not prepared. So I want to be prepared to be a good audience member in entertainment and in life. Second, be aware of your voice or be aware of your world. You have a unique way of seeing the world that is so special to you, and you can share that with other people, but you need to be brave and be aware of what you've got to give. Each one of us, if we're on this planet Earth, we have something to give to this planet Earth. You would not be here. That's just not how it works. You wouldn't exist in this world unless you had something to give, and you are special in your own way, and your community needs you to be there for them. And so be aware of that and be aware of your voice in terms of how you see the world. Be aware of your voice in terms of comedy. You might say, well, I don't know what my voice is comedically. I'll give you a great tip. The thing that you enjoy to laugh at is probably your comedic voice. The thing that you enjoy and you watch, like if you really watch the Daily Show and you like really love that, satire might be your comedic voice. It might be something in terms of how you view the world, a little bit snarky, maybe a little bit. That's okay. We won't judge. Again, there's a diversity in the world. It's good. Some people really like blue comedy. Some people like really physical comedy. Some people like all sorts of things. And that's okay. That's you. And just like Paul Blart Mall Cop, you can find your audience out there, people that will show up for your comedy. You know you have a friend out there that will show up and love to laugh at your jokes, or you'll have a good time together and you just kind of feel good, you just vibe off each other. That is your comedic voice. You shouldn't be ashamed of that. Just own that, love that, that's you. Be aware of step one, be aware of the world, being a good audience member. Step two, be aware of your voice. Step three, build your muscle. Comedy, performance, anything you do, is a lot like weightlifting. You lift up the weight, and the first time you lift it up, it's like, oh, this is a pain. This is uncomfortable. I don't really like this. This is no good. And you have a choice in that moment. Do I keep trying this, or do I walk away from it? If you walk away from it, you won't build that muscle, and that's okay. I won't judge you for that. That's a choice. But if you do keep building that muscle and keep working that muscle, the more you do it, the easier it'll get, and the more comfortable you will be with it. Because I'll tell you what, I've lifted muscles. I've lifted muscles. That's odd. I go around lifting muscles. No, I go around lifting weights, and as I lift a 10-pound weight and I do it again and again and again, suddenly it becomes lighter and easier. And then I'm able to lift a 20-pound weight, and then up and up and up. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you are with it. And within comedy, I forgot one other note on your voice. Your voice and your perspective of the world is built around detail, because in connections with other people, we want to make sure that we detail our world so they can see what we're seeing, and we can, again, affirm their voice or be aware of what that is. I'm going to throw out a few more improvisational concepts. It's a slightly different, but I find a methodology of approaching the world and comedy really effective through a lens of improvisation, which is sometimes seen as a form of comedy, and it is, but it's more about inventing with what you have in the moment. So it doesn't have to be about comedy. And this is a tool that has been utilized by Viola Spolin and a number of other theater makers in terms of how to make really active and inventive theater, but has also been utilized by a group called the Applied Improvisation that has over 7,000 very active participants that use improvisation and apply it to other fields like healthcare and psychology and medicine and business in terms of how to just engage and work with each other better. And these are the three core concepts that I've seen as highlighting what improvisation is all about, and helps us in the process of improvisation. And if you're nervous about talking about improvisation or thinking about us having an improvisational experience together in just a few moments, I would encourage you to note that you are improvising every day of your life. I'm improvising now. I'm not looking at my script, so I'm just making this stuff up. And you are too. Whenever you talk to somebody, you have no script. You're just going with the flow, and you are improvising. And so you can improvise, and you've been improvising since the day you were born, trying to figure out how to make it. And so don't worry about it. These three concepts, though, may help you build that skill a little bit better and create comedy a little bit better. The first one of those is presence. I invite you, as we experience this together and as you go within the world, be present. It's kind of like being a good audience of life, being aware of what's going on around you, be open, be listening, be available to what's happening, and not trying to dictate what's happening, but just being open to the discovery of what's happening in the moment. The second one is acceptance. So again, rather than dictating or trying to push your own agenda, accepting what is. And sometimes this means accepting that you have to do something you don't want to do. Sometimes it means accepting that an audience doesn't find your particular brand of comedy funny, and you have to find a new audience. That's okay. There is an audience out there for you. You just need to find them. That's the task of life. It's finding your people, find the people that you connect with and that you are encouraged by. But you need to accept what is in terms of what it is, because if you resist against it, you're just going to make your life more difficult. Within improvisation, we're creating together out of nothing, so we have to accept the offers and build from there versus trying to tear things down. The third is trust. By working together, being present to one another, accepting one another, we build a trust between one another. We build a trust of our own selves that we can do things that maybe we didn't think we could do because we are innovative in the moment. Trust that there's a process that worked. Trust that there's partners that care about us. Trust that there's audiences that care about us, and they want to have our best in terms of what we're trying. And in having these three core concepts, you actually can really help your process of improvising a bit more. All right, so that's some content in terms of why comedy, what comedy, how comedy. And again, being a research institution, it seems about time to do some experimentation. So we are going to do an experiment. As the alumni and folks of the community of UCI, we're gonna be doing some group work together. And I'll denote a couple things. One, this work is not, oddly enough, you think, all right, we're gonna have to do this stuff, I'm gonna have to be funny. Don't try to be funny. That's the number one rule of this. If there is a rule, there's not rules, but if there is a rule, something else to think about within the mix is don't try to be funny. People that just try to be present and aware, respond truthfully in terms of what's given to you, in terms of what you experience. People that try to be funny are kind of like people that are really desperate at a job interview or a date, kind of feel like it's a little icky and something's not quite right. And you're like, oh, I've got two choices here. I either have to be sorry for this individual and I'm gonna have to give them sympathy attention, or I don't really want to spend time with this person. And neither is a good outcome for the person that wants the job or wants the date, right? So just relax and be comfortable and don't try to be funny, just be present and aware and react. For this group experimentation, we are gonna break out into various groups. We're gonna try some things here. In these groups, you're not gonna be on the recorded video, so don't worry, no one's gonna see what you're doing. So we're gonna break out and you're not gonna be, unless you stay in the main room. If you stay in the main room, we'll see you. If you get in the breakout group, you're safe. No one will see you. But I will maybe go around to different groups and check in with you. The groups will be roughly 3 or 4 people, so you'll be hopefully safe. And if you have any sort of concerns, you can alert the host. There should be a button on your thing that says alert host, and we can come and rescue you. You'll be fine. These are all great people. Only great people showed up to this session, I'm sure. You will be in this group. For this first exercise, we're gonna try something. And again, you're not gonna be on video. If you want, you can try this later with your friends. If you're watching on the Facebook live stream, you can try it with your roommates, or you can call your mom after this. We could do a Zoom session with her. That'd be great. I guarantee you she loves you and thinks you're awesome. Or your dad or somebody in your life thinks you're awesome, all right? Just know that. Oh, got some people talking here. That's all right. Hang on just folks, a moment, and then we'll give you some time to talk with one another. All right, so this first experience, again with roughly 3 or 4 people, is called Justify the Offer. So I'm gonna invite us to, within this exercise, within your group, we'll figure out, introduce yourselves, say hello, so you kind of have a little bit point of connection, and figure out amongst yourselves who's the youngest in your group. Not for judgment, just organizational wise. Who's the youngest? Because they all go first. Because the youngest are often brave. I'm the youngest. I'll be brave. And what's going to happen is the youngest is going to, within our little virtual mini theaters, right? We have a little proscenium here. We are going to strike a pose. I see. Ivan, would you be willing to volunteer to help me on this exercise?
Absolutely, Joel.
Awesome, thank you so much. So Clint, will you also help me on this? Clint, cool, you also help me on this one? Clint maybe propose.
Hey,
Yes, I can.
I'll help.
All right, thanks, Wendy. Awesome.
Yes,
Sarah,
I am
Sarah,
back to
you
the land
also-
of awful internet. I can try to help.
You're
Okay.
all good. All right, so I've got Wendy, Clint, and Ivan. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Wendy,
Yes.
will you do me a favor in your virtual little screen? Will you make some sort of physical position that you can hold for a few minutes? So you can move around until you find what you want to do, and then you can just freeze in that position. And then, all right, Clint, Ivan, and I are going to look at Wendy as she holds that position, and then we're going to just pop up randomly and say justifications for what she's doing. Again, we're not trying to be funny. If something comes up for us that seems clever to us, awesome, we can say it, but we don't have to. You can say whatever's the first thing that comes to your mind. It can be perfectly average, because your average is your point of view and perspective, your comedic voice. And somebody might find it funny, somebody might not, but it's your point of view, and we're just building the muscle of what it's like to share our point of view. So as we look at Wendy doing that, Ivan, Clint, and I can just comment in terms of what we're seeing. So I see Wendy looking off of the mountain. That's it. Wendy's looking off the mountain. Clint or Ivan, what do you see?
I see Wendy searching the horizon. So Wendy's
I would say
looking-
Wendy has been up in the. Oh, Ivan?
Go ahead, Clint.
I see Wendy is.
You're cutting out a little bit, Clint, so I'm going to keep going. I see Wendy saluting a general.
I see Wendy hiding from somebody. She's hiding from someone.
I see Wendy karate chopping her own head.
I see Wendy trying to peek around a corner, looking over a corner so she won't be seen.
I see Wendy playing a one-person solo, How Low Can You Go? All right, so you get the idea. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, Clint. You get the idea in terms. Excellent. Thank you, Wendy. Let's give a round of applause.
Thank you, Wendy.
Volunteers. Excellent. All right, so we are going to send you into breakout rooms. There's a few people that are sharing their video. I'd invite everyone to do that when we're in the breakout rooms, because again, no one will see you except for your 3 or 4 partners. Or if there's one person in your breakout room that's got their video on, then they can just strike a pose, and then we'll let this roll for a little bit. And we'll break out for maybe 5 minutes. So maybe go 2 minutes with one person doing an exercise, and then rotate, let somebody else do it. There's no wrong way to do it, but you're just observing what you see somebody do, and then responding in terms of what you define that is in terms of that pose. Maybe go 10, 15 observations, maybe more, and then rotate in terms of us creating this reality based on a perspective. Are there any questions? You can either talk to me in terms of questions, or you can put it in the chat.
I do. Just to shout out, I am the chat room moderator. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. Danielle, my question is, would you be dictating the groups? Like, is it possible for you to choose 2 people and then kind of run the session, go one by one for the group, or we're just gonna hear a massive sound of comedy right now?
Awesome. So Zoom is kind of cool, because Zoom, which some of you guys have not used a lot, and some of you may have used a ton. Like this is my 8th hour on Zoom today. It's awesome. So here's the deal. The way that Zoom works is that you can break out in these breakout rooms, and literally you'll only see 3 or 4 people on your screen. So that's all you'll see. And so within this 3 or 4 people that are on the screen in your breakout room, you'll just try this exercise with. So it won't be everybody. It'll literally be only 3 or 4, and then you just pick somebody to hold a pose, and then like Clint, Ivan, and I, you'll just comment, and then just again rotate through in terms of what you're observing.
Thank you for your time. I'm really sorry for confusing thanks for answering my question. I guess we can commence.
All right, so let's go to the breakout groups. Again, if you need anything, you can ask moderator, please, for help. There's a button. Yeah. We're gonna send you to breakout rooms, and we'll come around and check in on folks. and then we'll come back in roughly 5 minutes or less. Or more.
Okay,
We'll
okay.
see.
All right, Zot, everybody.
That's that.
All right, have fun.
Oh, poor
Being
Clint.
funny, everyone. I'm attempting.
Do 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 do. Someone's eating ice cream.
Oh man, I like ice cream. Ice cream is
I
great.
said now. What I meant was now.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! And also alcohol. Wah. Is that Ivan with the water, or is it wine? Who knows?
Oh.
Have fun. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Oh boy, one by one.
Oh, let's see.
Hey, Clint, do you want me to try to attempt this if you're having some, maybe?
It looks like he is having some technical
Yes,
difficulties.
okay, y'all. Professor Vinstra, how
I'm
many
back.
people do you want in a room?
Roughly
we can-
3 or 4.
Okay, great.
Right.
Clint, I'm gonna go ahead and try and see. Or Clint, I think you're gonna have to make me host to make that happen.
There we go.
Says here in the chat room
let's
that
do
you
that.
can join a breakout room, but
Yes, click yes.
Which is-
I trust in you much more than I trust in myself.
he
Here
is
we
saying
go.
that slowly, so I can clarify for Clint.
think-
We
I
can,
think that-
apparently we can
Oh.
click on the button
Yeah, so
down
click-
there if you're on your PC.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Here we go. Wendy, you
All
have
right,
the
now it's
power.
working. Now we're cooking with gas.
All right. So we can go now, right?
Yeah. All right, have fun, everyone. We'll see you in a few seconds or minutes or whatever it
Is
is.
it? Oh boy. Yes, everyone should be able to join one at their own will.
How do you join?
There we go. Now, while you're all sorting that out, let me see. Oh, hello. This is the point. How do you join that? Well, this is the point where what if everyone goes off and tests out the skills that Professor Feenstra has been teaching. And at this point, I am supposed to advertise the upcoming improv show that's happening virtually right here on Zoom. Let's see. So Professor Veenstra's class, Drama 135, is going to be putting on a free performance that is called Improv Royale. And that's going to be happening, there we go, next Tuesday, May 26th at 5 p.m. Now, there is a Facebook event where you'll be able to find out how to register. I'm going to ask any of my lovely chapter members to post that link onto Facebook. We'll also be posting that on our page as soon as this event is over. But this is the modern iteration. Let me get out of the way. This is the modern iteration of the class that I took with Vinstra. I'm not out of the way. That's not out of the way at all. There we go. This is the modern iteration. There we go. Of that performance through improvisation course that Professor Vinstra began teaching just a couple of years ago. So this is a free show. I hope that you are all available next Tuesday to attend. It's going to be more technical madness. There we go. Now, where did I go? Where did I go? Okay, perfect. Let's see. I hope you're all enjoying watching the Zoom event. And if you're in the Zoom event, I hope you are enjoying the Zoom event. Oh, and there are my chapter members.
Hey, Clint, I have a
Hello.
question for you. Did you
I
set
see
the...
we're also not invited to the breakout meetings. That's okay. We're the cool kids club.
Clint, did you set a time on the room? So
Absolutely.
we know when our friends are coming back? Okay, cool.
Yes, I attempted to let me chat with you about it. I will chat my response to you.
Sorry, is it Michael and Sabrina and Dennis? We're having a technical issue here getting you into a room. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Did you know about the comedy show that's happening next Tuesday with Professor Feenstra's class?
Improv
Because
Royale.
it's right here. That's it. You know it. That's the one. That is the one.
Is that like, is it going to be anything like Casino? Casino Royale?
It's going to be anything like Casino Royale. Well, what I would love is for you as an enthusiastic audience member to come and give the suggestion of casino. And it could be a casino themed performance. It very well could be.
Okay.
It could also be anything else.
Michael, I'm sorry. We're
All right.
get you into.
All right. I think this will work out for the next game if we're able to get to it. As long as you don't put myself into a room, I think we will still be good for the next breakout session.
However, we don't, for some reason, we can't get Michael into a room. He's not showing up on my screen.
Interesting.
And Sabrina and Dennis and
Maybe we can have our own little.
yeah, you know what? We should strike a pose, Ivan. Okay, there we go. I say.
Oh yes, here we go.
He's in a thriller movie. He's an actor in a thriller movie. Sabrina, what do you think he is?
Unmute.
Unmute.
Oh, see, I think he's just in line for his. Oh, Sabrina, what do you think?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
So what do you
Well,
think?
I think Ivan just won $5 million.
Okay. That is good.
for his next project.
Is it Mahedi?
Yeah, Mahedi. I think a little bit more negative, but in that pose, that's exactly what I would do if I was at gunpoint. I say, please, please don't hurt me. I put my hands right up. I'd be begging them.
This is Wendy.
Hey, Wendy, it's Joy. I actually left the meeting.
What about Dennis?
Oh, Lord. Oh, sorry. Okay, gotcha.
Thank you.
Awesome.
We'll get him back in.
Back. Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Can you call people back in terms of the breakout rooms?
Oh.
We're having our own breakout room here.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You're scared they're gonna get hit by a car.
Oh, that's a new one.
Cedra, I saw your response in the chat.
Elizabeth, what do you think? Or Dennis?
Uh-oh.
I think he's he's under arrest.
He could be going to high five someone, a double high five.
Double high five. I
Double
like
high
that.
five. It's a double high five.
I won the clearinghouse sweepstakes.
Dennis, are you there?
He's on.
Hey, Wendy, I wonder if we can call the people back, and I wonder if you can give me screen share again.
Okay, I'm going to do close rooms then. Is that what I hit?
Yes, please.
Close room and screen share. Oh, I need to make you a co-host. That's
Yes,
how.
please. Thank you.
Hang on one second. Sorry, y'all. And I need to find.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back.
Oh, they're filling back in. Hello, everyone.
All right. Woohoo! Welcome back. Welcome back.
Says that breakout rooms will close in 25 seconds.
All right. Well, they will all be back here in 25 seconds. For folks who are here already, how was that for you? What did you notice? What did you experience?
You have to unmute yourself if you want to talk.
We were only in a room with me and one other person, so I got to know Nina super well. So that was great.
You made a connection.
Excellent.
Challenging but fun.
Oh,
Challenging but fun.
Wonderful. Great. What else did you notice? What else did other people experience? Welcome back. Welcome back from the group.
For me, I was with 3 other people, Elsa, Sharon, and myself. And Sharon made a comment that it's been a long day. She can't think, but when she started looking at a pose, her mind started having creative ideas. And so I thought that was a good way to awaken your body, open up your mind, and just kind of, for a moment, break out from the quarantine metaphysically.
Yeah, awesome. Great. What else did folks notice?
I know everybody has a different perspective.
Yeah, we're all looking at the same thing, but we have different perspective in terms of how to interpret it. It's amazing. I saw Lisa with the hand up.
I noticed that almost everything out of my mouth was like a COVID-19 reference.
Because you're an audience member of the world, and what is happening right now is COVID-19, right? It's amazing because we're all on the same page of this unbelievable experience. And we can either raise our hands and curse, or we can lift our smiles and laugh. Because it's crazy, right? This is crazy. Like, who'd ever thought this would ever happen in our lives, that we all go on a collective timeout? And yet this is what we're doing. Now there's some downsides to it. And we want to honor that and be aware of that and help where we can. But sometimes the help is just turning the frown upside down, right? Sometimes it's just bringing a little joy in terms of our lives or the people that we're with. Jamie, you had your hand up as well.
I was just going to say, I had an awesome group of very creative people, Connie, Josh, and Claire. So that was really enjoyable. I didn't want to leave the room.
Awesome. Did you feel connected?
I felt totally connected. I had a good time. And it was funny because I didn't think I was going to be able to come up with anything. But I think being with, happy and creative people kind of inspired your own creativity. So thanks, guys. Go
Absolutely.
team.
There's things in this world that we have, like eating good or exercising and these things, and you start doing it and you're like, I don't really like this. And you got the choice of either I'm going to stop right now, or I'm going to keep doing it and see what happens. And the same is true of comedy. It feels like a little uncomfortable. You don't feel like, I don't want to expose myself. I don't want to be vulnerable in terms of how I see the world. But if you push through the discomfort, you get to a place of joy and fun and connection, right? You have to push through the discomfort of engaging with somebody else that you don't know. And in doing so, you might actually have a really beneficial time within a matter of 5 minutes or less, that you feel connected to somebody that maybe you never met before, that wouldn't have happened if you weren't brave and pushed through an experience. Thank you so much for sharing. Are there any other thoughts or feedback in terms of folks' experience? I'm not seeing any. All right.
Yeah. Oh, someone's right there. Mehdi? Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think I thought it was kind of funny that we were doing a class about comedy and improv, and a couple of the students in our breakout group had some camera issues, but we improvised, and it was we went off, and every single other turn was in the chat, and the people that had a camera were like doing it normally, and then we kind of just read the chat off, and we were just kind of going like that. So I think it was really funny that we had to improvise in an improv session.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's part of the process of accepting, right? Sometimes things get in our way, and rather than accept them and try to move forward, we just shut down. Sometimes we shut down ourselves, and rather than accepting kind of what our situation is, we just kind of step back or think, I'm not that creative. And so we're not accepting that the truth is that we all are creative, right? All the innovation that happens in the world, all the innovation in terms of what you just decided to wear today was an improvisational thing, right? That you're brave enough to get dressed versus wear your PJs, at least what's visible of not PJs. So you're doing that, you're making that choice. We have a lot of other experiments that we could do, but I want to be mindful of time. And so I don't want to do that. I do a lot of work around UCI. I encourage you to come and participate in the things that we have around campus, but I'm appreciative that you took the time to explore this concept and were brave enough to play a little bit and experiment with somebody else. How many people, if you, just by a symbol, you had a good time, thumbs up, you had an okay time, thumbs down, or sideways, you had a terrible time, thumbs down. So let me just see if you had thumbs up, thumbs medium, thumbs down. Wow, it seems like
All right. You can also use the reaction.
Yeah, you can also use reaction. Excellent. I see a lot of thumbs up. That's spectacular. Excellent. You shared a moment with somebody. You shared your voice. You observed. You shared your voice. And it felt a little uncomfortable at first. But the more you do this type of work, the easier it is, the more comfortable you can get at it. I'm going to shift now to see the exciting world of questions. You can ask me anything. Are there any questions about this work or this world or life in general?
Actually, sorry, I don't know if someone else was talking. No? Am I okay? When you were talking about comedy, I couldn't help but think about there was a TED Talk I had watched about, and it's a comedian who's a shock comedian, and I was just wondering, because he said a lot of the same things you did about how comedy brings people together, or they might be exaggerations and stuff like that. But it's kind of a sticky subject. But I was wondering if you could kind of touch on if you've had any experiences with that kind of comedy, or
shock comedy.
Yeah, or like darker comedy, stuff like that.
Right, so there's dark comedy is a reaction against the absurdity of life, right? So like things about death or kind of these dark topics, it's kind of turning it on its end and having some power over something that's very disturbing. We had one year where a comedian, because we have this Cuda Comedy Festival every year except for this one, and one year our comedian friends that we had to come over said, hey, we got a special treat for you guys. We got this comedian that you're gonna love. He's very famous on YouTube. He's a guy, some of you maybe heard of him. He's a guy named The Beast. And this is a guy on YouTube that takes things, including small cacti, and eats them. Just eats them without like prickers on it, everything. I watched this and I was like, that is the most disturbing thing I ever saw. This guy take a little cactus and just bite it like it was a apple. And yet the people that were in the audience like loved it. And there was like, literally like we packed the house out of all these younger folks that like love this guy on YouTube. And there's an audience for that shock humor. There's an audience for dark humor. There's an audience for black comedy. It's not necessarily my bag, unless I'm feeling kind of down. But if I'm feeling up, that's not my bag. But it's not to say that I'm going to judge that, because again, there's a spectrum of the world and all types of people in the world. And I'm not going to judge, because I think there's a beauty in the diversity that exists within the world. And so I appreciate that and I celebrate it, and I try not to judge it unless we're hurting people. I don't like hurting people. So I'll fight against that with every ounce of my being. And if you're choosing yourself to be hurt, I mean, I've run a marathon. That was a lot of pain, but it was for the greater good, I think. So you make choices in life, yada, yada, yada. Any other questions?
It's probably have time for one more question if anyone has a pressing issue that they would love to ask for the class.
Joel, thanks for doing this. How do you suggest you exercise the muscle for writing comedy?
Excellent. I would say look, number one, and this is what James Cameron told me when I asked him about being a filmmaker. And he was kind of a little sassy, and he said, look, you want to be a filmmaker? Be a filmmaker. Like, no one's stopping you. Like, go get your video camera, start making something. The same is true of writing. The first thing to do is just go do it. Start writing things. And have your friends take a look at it, comment on it, get some feedback. The other thing is I would highly recommend is right now, we are in a boom time to get growth in terms of your own personal development. I have a number of friends in the comedy scene all across the nation and all across the world. The amount of online things, opportunities, workshops, webinars that are happening right now is amazing. And all of them that I talk to say, improv's tough online. Writing workshops works great. It's the same as if you're in the room. So I would take advantage of some of the writing workshops that are happening at some of the major comedy theaters, or again, if you don't have funds, search it out for free stuff. If you don't have time, just do it yourself. Just activate and start engaging in the task. I will do one more little pitch in terms of our time here. If you want to explore and experience more comedy or see what it's like in terms of our new virtual world, next Tuesday at 5 o'clock, I have an improv class that I'm teaching here at UCI, and we're having a performance, a live improvisational performance called Improv Royale. It's going to be on Zoom. The link is there, and we could, you can email me if you'd like in terms of seeing this, but this is going to be a really exciting experience to see and experience comedy made by up-and-coming UCI talents, and it's going to be spectacular. So I hope that you'll consider coming out and checking it out. It's going to be some good stuff. I'm laughing, and I'm hard to make actually audibly laugh. So come check that out. In addition, there's my email address at the bottom of the page there, j.vinstra@uci.edu. If I can be helpful for you, email me. I'm always trying to be as helpful as possible. I do get a lot of emails, so sometimes it takes me a while, but I occasionally, every year or so, do get to inbox 0. So I eventually get back to every email, but it sometimes takes me a long time. So if I can be helpful, let me know. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I find that comedy makes life better and lighter. It connects us, which again, I think is what life is all about. And that's not just because I'm married to a psychologist, but it is important for us to see the world, to see one another, to hear one another, to find and value our own voices, and then to share that voice, because each one of us matter and are important, and especially in today's world.
Isn't that the truth? And I have to agree with everything, because for the 0.5% of this experience I was able to attend, I have never felt better.
Oh,
so once again, I would like to thank Professor Joel Vinstra, as well as the entire class of Drama 135 with their upcoming show. I want to extend a thanks to everyone in this amazing Zoom meeting, and what a fantastic group we were able to put together so that you made yourselves have a good time. I want to thank the rest of the Antiers in the Arts, as well as the Alumni Association, for helping us assist with this event. I will say one last plug before, I don't want anyone to leave yet, but one last plug. We have an upcoming event that should also make you feel as well about yourself as you do today. That is going to be on June 6th. We have the chair of the UCI Drama Department, Professor Don Hill, teaching the business of show business, a follow-up to one of the most accoladed, that's not a word until I made it up just now, the most accoladed classes that many students have ever experienced, myself very much included. So that's coming up June 6th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I would like everyone to go into their gallery view if possible, and for one last photo opportunity, strike one of those crazy poses like you did in your breakout meeting, and we're going to take a photo. By a photo, I mean a digital image. And by a digital image, I mean a screen capture for someone. So go ahead, strike your poses, and this will be how we remember this moment. Thank you, everyone.
In 3, 2, and 1. Zot.
Oh, that was very smart of whoever included
Yay.
thoughts in theirs. I
Yeah,
wish
yeah, go like
I-
this, guys. Clapping.
I couldn't tell if we were posing or posing pros.
Thank you again, everyone.